Hey everyone, a wonderful Tuesday. Sorry for the small delay. I've had a super busy long day today. Yeah, if you've been in Singapore, you heard me this morning on Money FM. We discussed crypto markets. Yeah, had to be ready at 7 a.m. here, and it's getting close to 7 p.m. My day is not gonna finish until quite late. Tuesdays always very long days. And Yeah, I still try to be a good dad, so putting my son to sleep, trying to take care as much on a Tuesday, but definitely not the most family friendly day on a Tuesday, but I try to make it up on the other days. So that is why I'm slightly late. Sorry about that. I'm actually really just jumping out of another meeting and yeah, trying to get everyone in here. So if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. We are doing these Twitter Spaces pretty much every Tuesday. We discuss what's happening at our company, Cake DeFi. We talk about updates. Obviously, we're going to discuss crypto markets. Yesterday, crypto Super Bowl, kind of. Today, the markets are reacting very positively. We're going to cover those things. And yeah, we're going to answer your questions that you may have. Yeah, I think, Fabio, should we start with cake updates first? We're gonna go into current promotion, Valentine's promotion. Maybe we start with those things first. I think other than that, I think most of the things that are happening right now, there's a lot of things happening, are more happening on the background, a lot of preparations. So I think we start with that, and then we shift a bit over Super Bowl. Maybe we talk about FTX, Crypto.com, and Coinbase's ads yesterday. eToro, I think we can add that as well. And then discuss why the markets are pumping. Are we back in a bull market? What do you think?
Yeah, good morning, everybody, or good day for it doesn't. I think I can hear myself double. I think 1 second. Okay. Yeah, let's touch on maybe the Valentine's promotion first. So for everybody that hasn't seen yet, we shared it via tweet, by email, on a few different socials. We're giving away $20,000 in Bitcoin, and if you haven't participated yet, you definitely should. There are a few ways you can increase your chances by winning. Like let me just look where the link is, and then I will drop it right here into the Twitter space so you know exactly what I'm talking about. And it's pretty straightforward, actually. You just click on the link. There's a few tasks like retweeting something, following us, and yeah, pretty straightforward. And then you get a chance of winning 20,000 US dollars in Bitcoin.
Yeah, I would definitely participate. I mean, it's absolutely no brainer. It doesn't cost you anything. The more tasks you are concluding, the more you can win. So yeah, I think pretty much yeah, a bit of a nice gift for yourself and plus one. Yeah, so yeah, I think that's key. Other than that, what are the other updates? Voting on DeFi chain has concurred. I think we had quite a good, smooth process. I mean, we had a quick, I think, stumble at the start on Cake DeFi with the voting, but after like a 24-hour session overnight, everything got fixed, and I think this was a super nice kind of way with how people that have frozen a masternode or more actually had a chance to vote and submit their votes. I think that was quite straightforward. Any feedback on that? What did you see there, Fabio?
Yeah, for everybody that hasn't seen that yet, so Cake DeFi does not vote on blockchain specific things. So we own a few Dash masternodes, we have DeFi masternodes, and we practically, if you're a masternode operator, you can vote on certain things. So the Dash community has that, the DeFi chain community has that, but Cake does not vote itself. So we forward the votes to our customers, but this is only possible if you actually own a full masternode and you have frozen it for any period of time. And until last week, we reached out to every customer via email and we said, hey, it's time to vote. Would you like to participate? And we provided them with the signatures. So it's very technical and hashes and things that we send out to them and then they could go onto GitHub and place the votes themselves. So what we changed last week is we implemented this native on our homepage. So it's pretty straightforward. Actually, you just go onto the Freezer tab and you see all voting signatures and answers and possibilities there. It was the first iteration of this, so there was a small issue, like we could display this a little bit better. So we already collected a little bit of feedback, and the next time we will just have a little bit of a better overview. It worked perfectly fine, but we have some slight improvements to do for the next time. But we're very happy with the solutions, and so are you, at least the people that have gotten back with us until today. If you have any other suggestions on how we can improve, feel free to DM me either here on Twitter or on Telegram. My DMs are open and I try to respond to all of them.
Yeah, and I mean, just looking at the participation, I think a lot of people participated. So yeah, I think that was quite a good process also on our end. Yeah, and I also want to say once this entire process gets moved on chain by the DeFi chain community, then we could look into allowing anyone that has frozen DFI to vote. It just at the moment that process is not as transparent. So you would have to trust us, and that's a bit tricky. We don't want to go that route. So once this entire process is on chain, which should happen, I think, a bit later this year, then we could look on our site how we could offer that to anyone with frozen DFI. No promises on that though, but yes, just so you know, we do want to offer that to you as well. And then you can trace and track that directly on chain without having to trust anyone. So yeah. Cool. Any other updates that we need to mention on our front?
I don't want to go into details, but we have some integrations that we lined up for the future to really make it a lot easier for new people to join the platform. I don't want to share anything because if somebody should share that, it's probably you, Julian, and I'm also not quite sure what I am allowed to share. But the onboarding process, like for everybody that has been with us and that has gone through the process of signing up with Cake, there were some small challenges and obstacles in the way, and we are aware of them, and we are like in late stages of fixing it and making this whole process a lot easier. That's I'm pretty sure I can say that.
Yeah, I would leave it at that. I think let's announce those things when we launch them. I mean, as promised, right, we're really going to focus a lot on the user experience, going for a mobile first experience. And there's just a lot of things, especially always Q1. I mentioned this several times. Yeah, there's a lot of cleanup, a lot of things that we have on our roadmap there. So yeah, hopefully by the end of this quarter, you can reflect and say, wow, yeah, signing up right now or using everything right now is just 20 times easier than it was before. And yeah, I mentioned this a couple of times. We would love to really massively grow this year. We would love to 20x our customer base. That's a significant growth. I think we have, yeah, we have the tools for that and we have the capabilities for that. But obviously with that also, it means having an easy onboarding, have an easy sign-up process, and yeah, making everything as frictionless as possible. So yeah, I think let's leave it at that. And then once like actual updates are released, then I think it's better to announce those. So I think that's a key one. Yeah, sorry, I'll let you talk.
Maybe the only thing to add there, and also without going into any into the juicy details, but like you mentioned, we have high goals for this year, and we're moving in the right direction. So we have like the last week was, I think, our strongest week we ever had in signing up new customers. So thank you for the interest that you have and for the promotion. Like this was the Lunar New Year promotion that we had, and it was a big success. We're very, very happy about that.
Also KYC wise, I mean, not only signing up, but people actually completing all the KYCs, funding accounts. I mean, the team is getting stretched thin sometimes. Sometimes we cannot hire fast enough and how much growth we see there. So we really, yeah, from my side also really appreciate it. Thanks so much. It was just interesting today in this interview with the Singaporean radio channel. There was this question where it said, look, crypto has been going down the entire year. Obviously, regulations all around the world has been tightening up a bit. How does this impact us? And the great thing is, I mean, most of you are very long term focused. You see this similar as we do, and that's great. We're long term focused. Yes, I know we discuss prices here on a weekly basis, but we do this because I think it's fun to talk about, and I think it's very interesting. But at the end, we all know that long term hodling beats anything else, and so and we see this, and at the same time, yeah, we see that customers really love getting cash flow from their crypto, and that's why our services are popular. So, I think that's really exciting. Yeah. Um, Other than that, do you feel anything that we have left out? Anything we need to add here on the on Cake side? Otherwise, I would shift it over and maybe discuss the Super Bowl yesterday. More from the crypto side, unless you feel that there's anything else to discuss.
Yeah, let's talk about the Super Bowl. I haven't seen it, I have to say. I'm still thinking about watching the recording of it. I have seen the halftime advertisements. Did you see the Super Bowl? Have you seen the ads? What do you think about them?
Yeah, so I actually took the morning off, and I watched Super Bowl. I watched it live. I mean, for us in Singapore, it's very easy because it starts at 7:30 a.m. and went until like 11-ish. So yeah, I got to see everything live. For me, it was I think the Coinbase ad was the first one that came up. For those of you that haven't seen it or don't know what it is, it's basically this ad where this QR code starts wobbling around, similar from how in The Office, if you remember that scene where they're all sitting in front of that like uh, screensaver that's bouncing in the corners, and then at the very end, it actually hits the corner, and the entire office is cheering. And so the Coinbase, I felt it was the most creative ad from the entire Super Bowl. Had this as a QR code. There was no Coinbase mentioned at all until the very end. To be really honest, I was sitting there and I was just kind of on my phone getting a bit distracted. And I thought, what's happening to the channel? Like, did my TV just lose the channel? Because I didn't notice the QR code right away. And I was like, why the heck is there a screensaver? So it took me until the very end until I realized it's actually Coinbase. So I don't know. I felt it was the most creative ad, but I don't think it was targeted towards the right audience, in my opinion. I think it's more targeted towards already people in the crypto space. That's just a gut feeling. And I posted it on Twitter as well. I think it's gonna backfire a bit, where over the next couple of months there will be a lot of YouTube videos and Twitter and Facebook where people are basically copying that ad, changing the QR code, and faking it as an official Coinbase ad. And I just think that this is a bit tricky for many people, kind of getting duped into going onto fake sites. So that's just a bit of a feeling. Um, yeah, I don't know. Did you see that? In general, I think super creative. Cost wise, I think they paid. Again, all this is public information. I have a bit of the inside information, how much they probably paid for the ad. I'm not going to mention that because I'm not sure how much of that is public information. So I don't want to mention this on a public channel. But I think they paid around. I think the rumor is 15 million to get featured on the Super Bowl, and then they paid for the ad, obviously, for the production. Obviously, the ad itself very cheap to make. It was more the creative idea behind it. So yeah, definitely quite interesting. Did you see that ad, Fabio?
Yeah, I saw both, like the FTX and the Coinbase ad, and I have to say I'm a big Office fan, and
Ah,
it's practically a meme, and so I've found it hilarious, and I think you have a good point. It's really easy to copy, and maybe or maybe not, it will become an actual meme. But there is such a large difference between the one that FTX does, which I think they spent a lot of money
yep,
producing this, and I also think like both ads are really good. Like I enjoy.
yes.
I watched the FTX one. I think I watched it 3 times. Yeah, it's hilarious. I'm still maybe you know, but the actor like Larry, they say don't be Larry. But where do we know this guy from? Because he's definitely familiar to me, but I can't not place him.
Yeah, I think he was in many of. I think he was in those late night shows. I think he did a lot of those, as far as I remember. But I'm not 100% sure. But I agree, familiar face. I love the ad as well. Yeah, and I thought it's like probably from the outcome, right? I mean, I posted it on Twitter. I think I posted it on Twitter. I'm not sure. But these numbers are public as well. So when these are public numbers, I think it's easy to post. So I think there were around 100 million people who watched the Super Bowl. I think around 20% of them actually landed on the Coinbase page. The Coinbase page went down. The Coinbase app shot to number 2 on the App Store. Yeah, so definitely an interesting. So let's, I don't know. So they paid 50 million for the spot plus whatever the ad cost. So you can kind of calculate that. And so obviously FTX, I don't know their conversions because it's not as clear. They definitely paid way more than Coinbase. I do think though, and that's just a gut feeling, um, Coinbase is attracting way more people because of that QR code, and just people were trying it out and testing it out. But I still believe that actually FTX's ad at the end is gonna produce more value for them. That's just a gut feeling. But I think both ads were really good. If I would have to pick like a winner between the two of them, I think it's very difficult, and both of them would be number one spot.
Oh, somebody just texted me. This guy, Larry, his actual name is Larry, and he's from Seinfeld.
Ah, that's true. Yeah, it's one of those late night shows. Okay, yeah, okay, I think so. At least one of those or sitcoms or whatever. I can't. Yeah, yeah. Ah, okay, interesting. Yeah, Larry David. That I think that's the actor's name. Yeah,
Yes, yes, yes.
yeah. Um, Cool. Yeah. Then the crypto.com ad, I think that was before the eToro ad, as far as I remember. I can't remember, but the crypto.com ad was during like right after the halftime show. So I think slot wise, um, again, slot wise is a bit discuss worthy. First of all, I mean, many people, right? Obviously, they want to see the halftime show. By the way, quite interesting to see, yeah, like really throwback Thursday, pretty much. Eminem, Dr. Dre, 50 Cent. Man, I really thought 50 Cent not as fit anymore, quite chubby. I was quite I don't know, seeing him normally in his video when he's like hanging downwards. Yeah, I don't know. Didn't feel as fit, obviously. Snoop Dogg, I mean, big outcry because Snoop Dogg was seeing smoking a joint right before his performance, and then people were pointing out that this is completely legal in California. So obviously, you had all these kind of stories there. So halftime show, and then most people watch it obviously, and the halftime show, second quarter finishes, and then halftime show starts, and I think people don't really want to go to the toilet in between because they don't know when the halftime show starts. But I think when it finishes, I would assume a lot of people want to go to the toilet. And so I'm not sure if that is a really good spot. Crypto.com had their ad right there. So I don't know. I haven't seen any numbers how good that spot was. That's just interesting, obviously, from a kind of viewer standpoint. Obviously, with LeBron James, I think they had one of the most kind of famous performers in the entire Super Bowl ad category. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of other famous people. Arnold Schwarzenegger participated and so on, but I think LeBron is really, really high up there. Um, I thought the ad was not as aggressive as some of the other ads that Crypto.com is doing. So would be quite interesting to see how much they are, like how much kind of yeah, conversion they have. Definitely interesting. I don't know. Did you see the ad?
I didn't saw the crypto.com. Is it a different one than the one with Matt Damon,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
is it?
So LeBron James, he basically talks to his younger self, and I think they kind of toning it down, to be honest, a bit, where they're really kind of saying, you have to shoot yourself, like you have to take the shots yourself. So, but yeah, they still say fortune favors the brave or something. So, I think that the entire kind of narrative still stayed. Um, I did feel it was relatively soft in comparison to some of the other ads they were doing. Maybe on purpose, maybe I don't know. I don't know um what the kind of marketing guidelines were during the Super Bowl. I don't know how aggressive they were allowed to be. I don't know. But I felt it was I also felt like, of course, LeBron, like super famous, like insane athlete, very, very popular. But aside of that, I'm not sure how strong the ad was in comparison to FTX and in comparison to Coinbase.
Also, FTX really knows how to double down on this. So they had a tweet where I think they give away 7.5 Bitcoin or 8 Bitcoin, something like that. And they had over 100,000 likes on that. And they really double down on their ad. It's a good ad. So all the power to them. They really bring crypto to the masses and some prime time lots of eyes, I guess. And you had also maybe to touch on another thing that happened this week. I saw an interview with Ted Cruz where he was talking about Elizabeth Warren and the whole story about cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. And Ted Cruz is like really on board with these things, and he's actually very knowledgeable. Like he read Layered Money. He read a few other books, I think, that were recommended to him, and he knows a lot about like the Bitcoin mining and energy production. And I was amazed by how deep his knowledge in the space is. So, and he's of course famous as well on the political front.
Yep. I think he was also, when the dip was, I think he bought up to, I think it was not exactly clear how much, but he bought up to $50,000 in Bitcoin. So in theory, he could have a whole Bitcoin or more. You don't know how much he bought in the past. Yeah, and last but not least, the fourth crypto focused ad was from, not directly crypto focused, but it was from eToro. Um, I felt the eToro ad was the most kind of cookie cutter, um, straightforward ad. Like, it was a great ad, don't get me wrong here, but I'm not sure if it would be the ad that like most people are going to be talking about if they are just, if they're not like eToro fans, or if they're not crypto fans, if they're just coming from a natural point. Like, I think there were a lot of great ads in there. I don't think any of the ads were bad or stupid or something. It was not a bold ad. It was not like something that totally stuck out like the Coinbase ad, right? Which was definitely going to be polarizing. It was just a straightforward kind of financial ad. And yeah, I think as a whole, there were kind of three groups of ads in my opinion. It was either cars, it was financial products, or it was food. At least that's kind of how I felt. Or then actually the fourth one was like movies that are, or series that are coming up. Yeah, again, I think uh ad wise. Oh, again, I mean, obviously for me as a basketball fan, I felt the crypto.com ad was better than the eToro ad. But obviously that's me really kind of saying, hey, LeBron is really, really awesome. Um, Not as good at Jordan, but really, really awesome.
Was
And
was eToro using Alan Baldwin again for like they had these ads with Alan Baldwin, like the I think there's some kind of reference to 32 Rocks TV show
I didn't,
or
I mean, I didn't notice that, to be honest. Again, maybe, but it was not like, I mean, I wasn't sitting there and just watching and recording all the crypto ads, right? So, like, it was just, I think it was zooming through a city with the various kind of, like ideas and promotions about what to invest in and so on. So, um, I, to be honest, I can't remember, if there was any famous, person in there. I don't know. Can't remember. Yeah,
okay,
to me, the
so
two ads
FTX
that
definitely.
really, yeah, I mean, I think, I believe FTX won in all of this. I think Coinbase had the most creative ad out of the entire Super Bowl. I think, I really think so. Whether it was the most productive one, obviously they know, I don't. Um, yeah, to me, Crypto.com just stuck out because it had, I mean, obviously as a basketball fan, a very, very, very famous basketball player in it. And I think eToro's ad is definitely performing, but I don't think it's going to be the best performing ad of all time. So I don't think it's going to go down as the most creative ads of all time. So I don't think it's going to go down as a top 10 kind of ad. So yeah, that's kind of bit the Super Bowl story and all of that. Uh, Anything you want to add there other than that reflection?
I fully agree. Like I was very much like I'm a big fan of the ad that FTX made. It's just yeah, I don't know. It's funny and it's yeah, it's a really good ad. And other than that, I have nothing to add. So maybe we can hop
So,
into the next topic.
Permable Fabio, why is crypto up today? I mean, Bitcoin's pumping, Ethereum is pumping, DeFi chain is pumping. So pretty much anything, any coin you're holding on Cake DeFi is pumping. Yesterday, right after the Super Bowl, actually, Bitcoin dipped. Coinbase stock actually opened 5% minus because they had this massive downtime of almost an hour. They couldn't handle all the traffic. Even Snowden posted that this is so internet, investing tens of millions into an ad, but $0 into the infrastructure. So it looked quite pessimistic, actually. I think crypto even dipped under 42,000 yesterday. And yeah, I don't know. I didn't check what the prices are right now. Let me open that at the same time. But yeah, crypto, or like all of it, really pumped. I think it's up five, yeah, with over 44,000. so 5% up from yesterday. If you're looking at on a weekly basis, like where we were last week and where we are right now, I would say we haven't moved at all. I think we are, yeah, pretty much um, same. But yeah, where's that recovery coming from? What's happening here?
Like I'm not 100% sure. If I would need to finger point to any specific thing, it is probably the attention with all the things that happened in Super Bowl and on the political front. But I'm not 100% sure. As you know, I'm a permabull, and I still believe in six figures this year. My best guess would be in September or in October. The thing that I noticed this week is like I have this one guy. He's not really an influencer, like he's an anonymous institutional trader, Bob Lucas. He opened a YouTube channel, I think in 2018, and he does like one video every 3 months. So he uploaded one around 40 hours ago, and the tone clearly shifted. And I noticed that with a few bigger other influencers as well, that they kind of make an excuse for their initial predictions. So everybody was predicting six figures by the time. Yeah, we should have this six figures. So that's what everybody was calling for. But yeah, it's not happening. So there is a little bit more caution when in the words they use, and also just me watching the video, I felt like he's kind of a little bit bearish, and that's what I noticed with a few other bigger influencers as well. Like there is this caution, this not that they are actually calling for lower prices, but that definitely people are not as sure as they used to be when it comes to these huge predictions in the short term. And I don't know if this is a bullish or a bearish sign. Probably bullish, but yeah, hard to say. What do you think about the whole sentiment at the moment?
No, I think that pump over the last 24 hours is really a bit of a Super Bowl kind of pump. Um, Makes sense. And I mean, look, 100 people watch the Super Bowl. A lot of people discuss the ads. I think there's a lot of hype around it, and people are obviously very bullish around it. So I think that makes sense. Um, I don't know if the long-term trend changed anything. I think tensions. I mean, the two major ones. Let's look at the two major kind of price pressures at the moment. One is inflation. A hawkish Fed. We discussed this so many times. We may see two kind of raises actually by March, so 0.5% up. People talking about 2% of interest rates this year. So this is definitely not like supportive for non-cash flowing assets, right? So let's be real here. Like anyone who thinks that this is bullish for a non-cash flowing asset, that's not good. Obviously, as soon as you get cash flow, like on our platform, Cake DeFi, this helps. Like this offsets a lot of that pressure. But for the asset itself, it's tricky. And at the same time, you have these tensions in Ukraine, um, where there's a bit of a standoff between Russia and the Western world. And I think Russia is using that kind of attention for a good bargaining, negotiating standpoint. So, and these tensions are maybe easing off a bit. So I think these are the main kind of downwards pressures. At the same time, obviously, you do have things like the Super Bowl. A lot of people watch that. So there is obviously some bullish sentiment. And I just think over the last 24 hours, the Ukraine topic kind of eased off a bit. And at the same time, the Super Bowl obviously caused some attention and definitely caused some people to sign up at the various platforms. And we also, I mean, look, we also saw a strong last 24 hours on our platform without us doing advertising. So it's just kind of it's kind of sifting through everywhere. So yeah, that's just what I see a bit. I don't think this is some fundamental change right now. Again, I've been mentioning this a lot. I think I wouldn't be surprised one bit if the first half of this entire year is up and down and up and down. And so I think these are all fantastic long-term purchasing prices. But I would not be expect like I wouldn't be surprised if over the next couple of months, this is more of an emotional roller coaster than anything else. So that's just what I kind of foresee a bit. And then the closer we get to the midterm elections in the US, November 8th, I think the more bullish the entire sentiment is gonna happen. And so from like right now's point of view, I don't know. I would if you're going for new all-time highs, unless there's a Bitcoin ETF or unless there's a change in the Fed sentiment, or if there's someone really coming in and pumping the price, I would be surprised if we're seeing a new all-time high this first half. And I would rather expect it in the second half. But I'm actually on your kind of like side here. I also could see 100,000 this year. And I mean, it's 150%, a bit less up from where we are right now. I mean, 150% is still a lot, but it's absolutely doable with the volatility that Bitcoin has. So that's just kind of how my personal expectations are. I think at the moment, fantastic prices to kind of step in long term, but I would really see this on a long term horizon. I think it's dangerous. You come in and say, oh, you know what? Like my favorite influencer says, next week we're going to go to a new all time high. I would be a bit more cautious on this. Seeing this over years, I think these are super solid kind of prices. Maybe on that note, DBS, one of the largest Asian banks here in Singapore, and it's not just the largest bank in Singapore, it's one of the largest banks in Asia, announced that they're going to do a crypto retail trading desk this year. And that's very, very bullish because they have millions and millions of customers, a lot of clients, and Asia is a bit different than North America or Europe because here a lot of the exchanges, and again, that's why Cake DeFi is not an exchange, but a lot of the exchanges here can only accept customers in their jurisdictions. So you have a Thai exchange, you have a Singaporean exchange, you have a Malaysian exchange. So a lot of these exchanges can only accept customers in the country that they're in. That doesn't affect us because we're not an exchange, but it affects a lot of these exchanges. And so with DBS having basically outlets in so many countries, this is extremely interesting. So, I mean, all these things, very, very bullish. Not bullish from like one day to another, but bullish in the entire kind of long-term sentiment.
There's definitely lots happening in the background. I actually prefer the way you just said that the first half of 2022 is just a little bit choppy and up and down, not a lot happening. That's actually great, especially if you're like me. I'm dollar cost averaging. I'm participating in Cake's lending products, getting some nice yield every 28 days. And for me, I actually prefer to have a little bit of time left to increase my positions. And while I'm doing that, there's so many things happening in the background. You have BlackRock that wants to join into the whole crypto game. You have a Canadian company, and probably I'm going to butcher that name, KPMG, I think. Maybe the letters are in another form, but they added Bitcoin to their balance sheet just a week ago or so. So there is definitely, and I could foresee a lot more of these things happening, like companies or public people announcing that they got some exposure, but without any price impact, just an accumulation of this kind of news and not a lot happening. And then hopefully at one point that we will see this translating into higher prices as well. But definitely, I'm okay with taking our time with this.
Yeah, definitely sounds good. Are there any other points? I'm not too unhappy if we're cutting it a bit shorter today. It's a super busy, crazy Tuesday for me. And while we're talking, I'm getting calls left and right and messages. Are there any other things that we need to mention? Yeah, I don't want to be like disrespectful to our listeners, but yeah, want to know if we're like, also don't want to drag it into any unnecessary links.
No, I 100% agree. Let's cut this episode a little bit shorter than usual. And there's also like we have some things lined up. It's a little bit early to share, so we better focus on these things when we have a little bit more time. And yeah, I think we have always. We are always planning a few months into the future, so we have a few products and a few campaigns in plan for you. It's a little bit too early to tell. There's not a lot happening into the crypto space. So yeah, let's cut the episode a little bit shorter than usual.
Cool. So just a couple of things before you jump off. First of all, check out the Valentine's promotion on our social media channels. You can go on Twitter or LinkedIn or Facebook. I think it's being shared everywhere. So yeah, check this out. This is absolute no-brainer. You can win some serious money on this. So that's key. If you're not a Cake customer already, hey, what are you waiting for? It's a perfect time. Get cash flow from crypto. If not now, then when? Seriously. And yeah, last but not least, we have, I think, just got the HR update today, 29 open job positions. So go to cakedefi.com/jobs and apply. There's literally not a single department that's not hiring right now. So yeah, we do prefer employees in Singapore, especially now where we can go back to the office. Yeah, like today, office is buzzing. It's insane to see that. It's so great. Team culture. It's yeah, it's just amazing to see that a bit. Last time we had that is over 2 years ago, and back then the company was I think 7 people. So now we're close to 100. Totally different. So we would prefer people in Singapore, but we're totally open to hire the right person remote. We would also be open to hiring the right person remote and then moving that person to Singapore if you're open to that. So just go to cakedefi.com/jobs. And yeah, nothing else. Thanks so much for tuning in. Tomorrow, Wednesday, 30 minutes later, so that's 7 p.m. Singapore time, 12 p.m. Central Europe time. We're going to have a DeFi chain Twitter space that's not hosted by myself, but I'm going to be part of it, where we are going to discuss, yeah, how is everything going with DUSD? I mean, that thing is going really well. It's helped to pump the DFI price and how to move forward. Should the community decide on removing that premium for other D tokens like D Tesla and so on? So I hope you tune in for a fruitful discussion on the DeFi chain Twitter space tomorrow, 7 p.m. Singapore time. With that, I hope you are subscribing, liking, sharing this content, and we'll hear from you next Tuesday again when we discuss what's happening on the Cake DeFi side, in the crypto markets, and all the other good things. With this, thanks so much for your time. I'll talk to you later. Cheers. Bye bye.